Okay, in this video, this will be the third video, we're going to do our roof framing. So I'm going to start out by going over here in my tags menu. I find my add a tag symbol right here. I'm going to add a tag. I'm going to name it roof underscore framing. Press enter and make it my current layer by placing the pencil right there. So now anything I draw is going to be on the layer roof framing. I'm then going to come over here and I'm going to create a rectangle. The purpose of this rectangle is so that I maintain drawing this rafter on plane, and I want it on the frontal plane, so I'm going to draw a green rectangle here. So go up here, select your rectangle, and then you can pick any place, it doesn't matter, on your screen right here, but you're going to pick a point, and then you're going to hit your left arrow key, and it's going to default that to a green rectangle. Okay? I want you to just type in there 12 apostrophe, comma, 12 apostrophe. So that'd be a 12 foot by 12 foot rectangle. And the reason I do this is because most of our roof pitches are based on a 12 unit run. So if I want a 512 here, all I'm going to have to do is come up 5 feet from here. And if I connect the 2 points, that's going to give me a 512 pitch roof. So that's the reason that I'm doing this. So if I do that real quick, if I take my tape measure tool and I come off the bottom, let's say I am going to use a 512, I'll just come up 60 inches or 5 feet. And now you'll notice I have an intersection there and an intersection there. If I take my tape measure tool and connect those two intersections, it will throw a guideline right through there. So that is the correct angle of my roof if I desire to have a 512 pitch. Now let's do a couple more guidelines to establish the actual size of our rafter here. So I'm going to come off of this side to the left 48 for 4 feet. My building is 8 feet wide, so half of that would be 4 feet wide. That would actually be the entire run of my rafter in total. Now, my rafter is going to be connected. The rafters on the right side and the left side are going to be connected at the top by a ridge board. Half of that ridge board thickness needs to come off of this side and half off of that side. My ridge board is 1.5 inches, so I'm going to pick on this 48-inch line and I'm going to move to the right on the red axis and type in 0.75 and hit enter. So that's where this line right here is where my rafter will stop. I'm then going to come to the very outside, and my rafter can have overhang on it where it sticks out past the building. I'm going to come out 8.5 inches on the red axis right here. So I'm going to go 8.5. That will establish the very end of my rafter out here. This portion of the rafter right here we'll refer to as the tail. Now then, the next thing I need to do is determine how big a bird's mouth cut I'm going to have on my rafter to sit on top of my wall plate. My wall plate is 3.5 inches, so all I'm going to do is I'm going to come in 3.5. My rafter will start right there. So if I take this guideline and I place it right there on that intersection, and then I'll say I'm going to have 2x4 rafters. So I'll come up 3.5. That's going to be my rafter height right there. So now, essentially, I have everything in here that I need in order to draw my rafter. So let's just take our line tool right here, the pencil, and let's just trace around this together. So I'm going to pick up my line tool. I'm going to start up here at the top, and I'm going to start right here. So I'm going to grab that intersection. I'm going to come down here. I'm going to pick this intersection. I'm going to go straight down from here. I'm going to pick and go straight down on the blue axis till I hit this line. And then I'm just going to come out here, pick these 2 points, and then go all the way back to the top. Right here. I've just established my rafter right there. So I'm done with all of this, and I can go out here and I can delete it and get rid of all of this, everything except for my rafter. And I can even delete that little line right there. So that is my rafter right there. Okay. Now I need to give that rafter some thickness because right now it's just a flat surface. So I am going to push pull it 1.5. This time what I'm going to do with the rafter is I'm going to make this rafter a component instead of a group. So I'm just going to window it all, or I could triple click it, right click on it. I'm going to make it a component. It's going to ask me to give my component a name. I'm going to call it rafter and say create. Okay. Now, the difference between a group and a component is if I were to alter this by it being a component, any of these that I had copied, it will alter them in the same fashion. If I would want to make one of these, if I wanted to alter only one of these, then I would have to click on it, right click, and say make that object unique before I did that. Okay, so let's take our rafter now, and I'm going to need one for each side. I'm going to need one going up here, one going up there. So I'm going to take my rafter and get one for my other side. The easiest way to do that is to grab that rafter, go to our rotation command, get right here in the midpoint without picking, and hit our up arrow key. That'll give us a blue protractor. Now pick the midpoint, go one direction on the red axis, hit control one time and release, and go the opposite direction on the red axis. Now I have a rafter for each side. So I'm going to take this one right here. I'm going to go to my move command. I'm going to pick this corner right here, and I'm going to move it to the top of my structure right here. And then I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to grab this one, and I'm going to move it to the same location on the right-hand side. Okay. So now I have a rafter creating my roof on each side. All right. Now the next thing I need to do is I need these every 16 inches. They'll line up with the studs below right here because this is the exact same fashion I laid my wall studs out in. So I am going to grab that one, hold down shift, and grab the second one. And then I'm simply going to go move. I'll pick this corner, hit control to copy. I'll move on the green axis and I'll type in 16. And then I'll type in the number 6, the letter X for 6 times, and hit enter. That will place all of them on there, but I will have to take my last 2 right here and move them back. So I'll grab that one, hold down shift, grab that one, and I'm just going to move these 2 back so that that is right there. Okay. Now my rafters are in. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my ridge board right down the center. The easiest way to draw this is to come right here on the end, go to your rectangle command, pick this top corner, and then come over here and pick someplace on this surface. That will default you to a green rectangle. Okay? And then I am going to type in, since I use 2x4s for rafters, I'm going to use a 2x6 for my ridge pole. I'm going to type in 5.5, comma, 1.5. Press enter. And then I'm just going to pull this all the way to the back and make it a group. Click on the back. And then I'm going to go to my selection arrow and make this a group. Okay. So there's where we're at right now. Okay. The next thing I need to do is I need to have a little bit of overhang on the front of my building, a little overhang on the back of my building. So I am going to take this rafter, hold down shift, and this rafter, and I am going to copy them from this point, press control, come on, I want to be on the green axis, and I'm just going to go 8. Or I'm sorry, 10. Okay. Now, because these 2 out here are fly rafters, they won't have a bird's mouth in them. Okay? So what I want to do here is I need to right click on these and say make unique with both of them selected, and then say edit my component. Got to click on one of them at a time. Make unique and edit my component. So what I want to do is I want to get rid of the bird's mouth. And I can do this as easy as just connecting these two and then pulling this across. Okay, and then you're just going to have to go in here and clean up some lines. And there'll be a couple on the back side. Now, I can edit this one, or I can delete that one and copy this one over there. It doesn't really matter, whichever way you want to do it. If you want to just take this one right here, right click on it, say edit the component, draw your line. I usually draw it on the back side because it's a little bit quicker to push pull toward me. Grab that, pull it out there. It really doesn't matter. This one's already in the right place, so I'm just going to take this one. Oops. If you ever erase something or make a mistake, just go back and do the undo command. It's very easy to do when you get to pressing that delete button on your keyboard. Get the last two in the back. Okay, now I've got the fly rafters on my front. Now let's do this. Let's take these two fly rafters right here and let's copy them to the back. So I'm going to pick that point right there. Hit Control to copy. I'm going to put them right on top of these. And then I'm going to move them on the green axis 10. Okay. Now all you have to do is just take your ridge board right here and we're going to pull it out. Now before I pull out my ridge board, I'm going to edit it a bit. I'm going to click on it. I'm going to right click and say edit that group. I'm going to draw a line right across here, right at the bottom of those two rafters. And the only part I'm going to push pull is the top part. I'm going to pull it all the way to here. I'm going to go on the other end. I'm going to do the exact same thing. A line across the bottom, push pull the top all the way out. Okay. The reason for that is that way that ridge board doesn't get in the way of my overhang right here when I put my soffit and stuff in. So now we've got our fly rafters in. Now we just need to put our fascia cap, our fascia board, down each side. So in order to draw my fascia, I want to delete all my guides so I don't have any extra guides up here. And what I'm going to do is my fascia is going to be 1.5 wide. So I'm going to come off of there on the red axis, 1.5. I'm then going to throw a guideline right down the top edge of my rafter. So I'm going to pick on the edge of the rafter and the end point of the rafter. And now I'm going to take a horizontal guideline and place it right here. Or I can do this. I can just go to my rectangle command, pick that intersection, hit my left arrow key so that I get a green rectangle, and I can type in 1.5, comma 5.5. Hit enter. And there is my fascia right there. I can push pull that all the way to the back and make it a group. Now I need this on the other side. So in order to know exactly where to place it on the other side, the quick way to do this, put a guideline right here by clicking here and then here. Now I can just go move, pick that corner, hit Control, and put that corner right there. Okay. So now, for all practical purposes, my roof framing is now complete, and I can delete my guides.